The Morristown Green, a central park echoing with the footfalls of Washington and his compatriots during the Revolutionary War, is not merely a serene escape, but a living testament to the town's pivotal role in shaping our nation. Morristown's history seamlessly intertwines with every individual who grew up there, creating a childhood rich in the echoes of the past and a vibrant spirit of community carried forward by each successive generation. These are their stories. This is Beyond the Green.
Welcome back to Beyond the Green, where we celebrate and talk about the people and places of Morris County. Today's guest truly represents the heart of community service and heritage. After decades of volunteering, preserving local history, and supporting Irish American traditions, he's been named the 2026 Grand Marshal of the Morris County St. Patrick's Day Parade, a special honor in a year when our nation also marks its 250th anniversary. We're excited to sit down and hear his story, his journey, and what this moment means to him and his family. Please join me in welcoming Michael Bannon. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Peter. It's an honor to be here.
It's our pleasure. So, Michael, let's, before we begin, I know you wanted to talk about the Lloyds.
Right. You know, Desi and Alice Lloyd are and have been a big part of the Irish community, Irish American community in Morris County. And Desi had passed away several weeks ago, and then we got word this week that Alice passed away. And I just wanted to make sure that people watching this are aware of that, and they're well known, and our hearts go out to their children, Alice, Will, Desi Jr., and Michael. And I think it's important to acknowledge their contribution and their great restaurant, in my opinion, one of the best restaurants in the state, the Grand Cafe in Morristown. And they were major sponsors and continue to be major sponsors of the St. Patrick's Parade of Morris County.
Yeah, and they've been a beloved family in the community for a very long time.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Michael. Mike, let's talk about, first, before we begin about the parade, how did this happen? How did you become Grand Marshal? Like, is this something that you get nominated for? Is it something that you have to put your name in for? And when you found out that you were going to be this year's Grand Marshal, how did that make you feel?
Very proud and honored. I've worked on the parade. The Morris County St. Patrick's Day Parade started in 1979 in Wharton. And it quickly outgrew Wharton and moved to our county seat, Morristown. And so this is, I believe, the 47th year of the parade. And I was on the parade committee in smaller roles and medium, couple large roles over the years, ever since it came to Morristown. And I was and still am very active with the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick of Morris County, which are one of the two groups, including the Irish American Association of Northwest Jersey and Rockaway Township / Wharton, that put this whole parade together. And so what happens is each year the trustees of the parade get together and they discuss different names of people. And I'm very fortunate and proud that they selected me this year to be the Grand Marshal.
Yeah, was it a shock to you?
It was.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was very surprised, a little overwhelmed with all the attention. And doing things like this and talking to people and having people come up to me, my friends and people I don't even know, and congratulate me.
Yeah.
And they have a couple of events that include many of our sponsors who are our patrons. They are individuals and families and couples that sign up and they financially also help support and pay for the parade.
Sure.
And for them to come up and congratulate me, and it's very special, a little overwhelming at times.
In previous years where you volunteered in different functions, the day of parade, did you have any type of superstitions, any rituals before the parade? And will those then cross over to you now as Grand Marshal, or do those get thrown out with the bathwater, as they say?
Well, the biggest thing now as Grand Marshal, I respect all those people that donate their time to make this happen.
Yeah.
The parade is totally funded by donations. We have a lot of good organizations, corporations, individuals that pay for the parade. We pay for the porta-johns. We pay for the workers in Morristown. We donate a substantial amount of money to Morristown to pay for those workers, for the police, and a lot of the things that go on behind the scenes. This year, my understanding is that we're going to have 3,000 marchers, approximately, and part of it is because of the weather, the amount of spectators will vary. My number one job as Grand Marshal is to ensure that we have good weather.
Yeah.
And then we expect, depending on the weather, how good a job I do, we'll have between 50 and 75,000 people.
Yeah, yeah.
To my knowledge, my understanding is that we are the largest St. Patrick's parade in the state, and this is our 47th year.
Yeah.
And it's all because of those volunteers, from the trustees to the individuals that run the finance, getting the funds to pay for the parade.
Yeah.
And for all the workers that actually help out in the parade, the marshals, the line of march, the speakers that are at the reviewing stand,
Yeah.
that introduce all the different groups. They're the key cogs.
Yeah, yeah.
What I'm doing, I'm the show horse they bring out every
Yeah.
couple of days to tell you these stories and about all these great people
Yeah.
and great organizations that do the work, that are willing to support us financially so that we're able to put on this parade for 47 years.
Exactly. The only thing is now you have to go up against, Puxatawny Phil and his weather forecast. So hopefully you can overcome that,
Yeah.
because those 6 weeks put us right at that weekend, so.
It'll be all this snow that we've had and all this cold weather will be gone, and we're going to have 50 degrees and sunshine that day. It's going to be great. And the best part is marching in that parade and seeing all the families and the little kids.
Exactly.
That's what makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your Irish heritage, because it goes back a few generations, right?
It does. Just like virtually everyone else, except for the Native Americans, we're all immigrants. And my background, my family's background, is my mother's family came over from the Austro-Hungarian Empire before World War I, and in the area what is now Slovakia. And my father's family came over from Ireland. And it's funny, I have a couple of websites where I've explored my family tree, and Ancestry.com sends me a hint every once in a while. And the most recent one that I got maybe a month and a half ago was I was only able to go back maybe 2 generations, and then the history disappeared. and those generations are gone now. But it sent me a hint for my great-grandfather. And William was a very common name with my uncles, my grandfather, and pops this hint from Ancestry on William Bannon, who came over from Ireland and his parents were coming over, and he was born on a steamship in 1850, coming over from Ireland to the port in New York. And my understanding is, or my belief is, that they ended up going into Jersey City, where my father was born and grew up. And a lot of the things match. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm quite sure that that was my great-grandfather.
Do we know where in Ireland your family's from?
We have, doing your family history and tree in Ireland is very difficult because the records are mostly kept in each of the parishes. It's not like here in America where the federal government, or you can get birth certificates and it's easy to find. You really have to narrow it down. But from the things that I have found, I believe probably in the area of County Tipperary, which is south central Ireland. And I'll tell you a little story. My oldest brother, Richard, and I, probably 15, 20 years ago, went over to Ireland on a tour. And half the time we stayed on a planned route with a group, and then the second half, the last 5 days, we rented a car and drove around. And we ended up down in the southern part of Ireland, near the Rock of Cashel, and it was a Sunday morning. We're heading back to Shannon Airport to fly back to America, and we go through this little tiny village called Turles. And I'm not 100% sure, but some native speakers have told me it's Turles, Thules. And probably the whole town was less than 500 people. And I was dozing off. My brother's driving back to Shannon. And all of a sudden he jams on the brakes. I open my eyes and I look over, and there's Bannon's Bar, Lounge, and grocery store, and post office. And of course we had to go in there. And my brother Richard and I are both about 6'4", maybe I was 6'5" at the time. Gravity took its toll. And we walk in, and the entire town was there. It was amazing. It was a 3-story wooden frame building, and on the first floor were all the grandparents in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And then on the second floor were the parents, who were mostly 20s and 30s, and then the kids were up in the attic playing. And when we walked in, we had all our cameras around our necks and big dumb grins on our faces. And we walk in, and it was like a parting of the Red Sea. All these people just moved back, and my brother and I, they knew we weren't locals. And we walk up to the bar, and the bartender comes over, and he says, "Can I help you, Yanks?" So it was pretty obvious to them we were Americans. And I said, "Yes, we would like to talk to the proprietor." The barkeep says, "May I ask who's calling?" And I go, "Michael and Richard Bannon." And the name of the bar is Bannon's Bar. And the whole place erupted and cheering and everything, and it was so funny. And we met this guy, and he did look a lot like our uncles. So we never made a solid connection, but it makes for a good story, and it really was a pleasure and honor meeting another Bannon over in Ireland.
Just to dig down a little further on this, when he finally comes out, what was his initial reaction to the two of you? First of all, he's being called out by the bartender runs in the back, drags him out, and the guy looks all confused. And then the bartender tells him, "This is Mike
these are a couple of Bannons from America. And his face just lit up. And we went outside, we had to take pictures
Yeah.
and make sure we got the pub, the name
Yeah.
in our pictures and with him. And we stayed there for an hour or so, had a few nice pints, and then we went on our merry way to get back to the airport.
Do you think when you told him that you were Bannons and who you were, do you think, because you went there looking for a connection, do you think once you told him who you were, he was looking for that connection as well?
Yeah, and we asked a lot of questions, or he asked a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And it was hard to understand him because he had a very heavy Irish brogue,
Okay.
an Irish accent.
Uh-huh.
And, but he asked him, we didn't have a lot of information on our ancestors
Yeah.
in Ireland, so we weren't able to relate a lot. Some of the names that they were in his family were in ours, like William, and
Yeah.
and so we had a little bit of connection, but we weren't able to really dig into anything, give him anything that helped him, and he really couldn't tell us too much
Yeah.
either.
Yeah. That's a great story. Because in today's world where we're digitalized, it's become a little more easier to kind of connect with our past and where we came from, as it adds to our own identity. With that being said, I just want to go back to how we started. When you were told that you were going to be the Grand Marshal this year, who did you tell first?
I believe I called my oldest brother,
Okay.
and, my parents are gone,
Yeah.
and he and I are very much enjoy researching our family
Yeah,
and our
yeah.
ancestry. And I shared it with my brother Richard.
What was his response to it?
It was over the telephone. He lives in Virginia now.
Okay.
And I don't know, he was almost as shocked as me.
Uh-huh.
No one was more shocked or
Yeah,
more
yeah.
surprised than I was.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Did you grow up in a very Irish household?
It's a really good question. And we knew my mother's ancestry was Slovak.
Right.
We knew my father, his ancestry was Irish. But probably until my mid-teens, I was just an American.
Yeah.
And I really didn't think about it. And then when I got married and had a couple of children, that's when it really hit me. And what happened to me has been going on for thousands, tens of thousands of years. And all of a sudden, as a father, I started to take more interest than where did I come from and who are these people whose blood runs through my veins.
Yeah.
And that's when I really, it didn't mean, being an Irish American or a Slovak American did not mean that much to me until I had children.
Yeah. Because it's important to push, because again, as we were talking about, kids need to know who they were, who their grandparents were. It gives them a sense of identity. What do you think if your father were still alive, what do you think his response would be?
My father had a very difficult childhood. And so to answer that question, I just want to tell you a little bit about my father. My
Sure.
father grew up in Jersey City.
Yeah.
And his father, my grandfather, was a motorcycle police officer in the 19-teens. And he was a member of the Boulevard Squad, which they drove these mopeds are stronger than the motorcycles they drove back in the 19 teens. And that's now JFK Parkway, which is a major
Yeah.
roadway in Essex County and Hudson County.
Mm-hmm.
And so my grandfather, my father's father, was in a motorcycle accident as a police officer, and he died from his injuries. So my father was a young child, an infant. I'm not sure of how old he was when his father's died. So he grew up without a father. And my father passed away when I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had the opportunity to give him that news. And even though he was proud to be an Irish American, he really didn't show it. And that World War II generation,
Yeah.
they really did not talk about their emotions.
Yeah.
And so I would know that he was proud,
Mm-hmm.
that I was given this honor, and that his son was given this honor. But he would congratulate me, but he wouldn't show much emotion.
Do you think he would come to the parade?
Oh, yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would drag his butt there regardless. There would be no doubt in my mind. I'd get my two brothers to lift him up and carry him on their shoulders and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Talking about the day of the parade and you're marching, is your brother coming up for it? Or is he going to be marching with you? Are you allowed as the Grand Marshal are you allowed to bring whoever you want to bring to
Yeah.
march with you?
The short answer is yes.
Okay.
And I'm really surprised. The people behind the scenes
Yeah.
that do all the work have been very good to me.
Mm-hmm.
From Artie Flynn, who's the president of the trustees,
Mm-hmm.
all the way down the line. And I have family that will be coming in from all over the country.
Mhm.
I have 2 sisters and 2 brothers
Wow.
and many nieces and nephews and my children, and they're spread out all over the country. And yeah, it'll be a great opportunity to really have a family get-together that hasn't happened in a long time. And I'm glad to be the catalyst to make
Yeah,
that happen.
yeah.
And to me, that's probably the best thing to happen as me being the Grand Marshal. All the other things that are a great honor
Mm-hmm.
are fantastic, but just having my family there and able to share this moment with them, that to me is the best thing.
Mm-hmm. We talked about off air about your career working in security, but your volunteer work as well. With your volunteer work, and you've done it for a long time, what has that taught you about? There's corporate leadership, and then volunteering is a different almost hierarchy when it comes to leadership. Did one teach you more about the other? Did you bring more of a corporate style to volunteering, or did the volunteering give you something different when you're working in the corporate world?
My background was to be an educator,
Okay.
and I stumbled into private security industry
Yeah.
initially because it paid more
Mhm.
than I could make as a teacher.
Okay.
And I have been very fortunate in my life that people have done things for me.
Mhm.
And dealing with my career in private security was dealing with people.
Mhm.
And so I see myself as a people person. And I credit my family And my parents did it very subtly, but my siblings and myself, a big part of our personality is leadership. And it's not forced leadership. It's, and this goes with my career, this goes with the different organizations that I've volunteered with. It's leading by example and treating people fairly. And I've been blessed, and my siblings have been blessed with a lot of good things in our lives and people that have helped us along the way. And now it is our opportunity and my opportunity now, throughout life, to give back to society. And I'm retired now, and I have more time to do it. I've always been involved with it, and I see myself as a people person. But now having an opportunity to give back more to society, and that I humbly accept that opportunity.
Yeah. So when you were an educator, were you teaching a specific, like what were you teaching?
Teacher of the handicapped.
Really?
Now, I have a good friend who has a intellectual disability.
Yeah.
And when I used that term, which was the term back in the 80s, he corrected me. So that's the training that I had, and that's working with people, and that carried over into my career.
Yeah.
Is dealing with people.
Yeah. When you see today's younger generation, how they're so transfixed onto their hand devices, and their life revolves around them, how would you encourage them to look at volunteering and what they can get out of it, and some sort of community service and giving back to the community?
I think the parents need to set an example first and foremost. And then it will naturally carry down to the children.
Yeah.
If you're involved in your children's lives, life is not perfect, but if you're involved with your children's lives, they are going to follow in your footsteps. If you allow your children to spend all their time locked in their room playing video games, or, God forbid, surfing the internet, who knows who they're going to come in contact with, then I believe that you will have more problems. If you take that child out, whether you're a Little League coach or you're showing up for the ballet practices, your children are going to see that, and they're going to follow your lead.
Yeah, I agree with that. Before we were talking about history and how important knowing where you come from, because it kind of makes you who you are today. You're fortunate enough to be the Grand Marshal in the year that America is celebrating its 250th. How does that make you feel?
Even more proud.
Yeah.
And it's very important to me. And you had asked me earlier about, is the parade committee and the trustees allowing me to do certain things?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I requested, and it's going to happen, is that here in Morris County, we have Picatinny Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I asked that one of my friends, Jim Coons, who is the commander of, I don't know if it's the VFW or the American Legion, and he's a Marine. And I asked him to reach out to, there's a company of Marine reservists in Picatinny Arsenal. And so it is my understanding that they are going to be our color guard for the 2026 Morris County St. Patrick's Day Parade. And they will be the first group, and they will be leading the parade. And to me, that all ties into the 250th anniversary of our country.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You know, and we've talked about this off air, the rich history that the county does have. And, you know, and we were talking about the mines in Hibernia and Rockaway and Wharton, how they were instrumental, not only in the American Revolution, but also later on in the Industrial Revolution. And sometimes that part of it gets a little bit lost because people are constantly focusing on the Washingtons and Hamiltons of the world, that how intricate the part of this state that we're in played such an intricate role for decades after the American Revolution.
I love history,
Yeah.
first and foremost. And I'm proud of the role my ancestors played throughout in New Jersey and specifically in Morris County.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised in Morris County, lived here my whole life, except for a couple short stints. On my mother's side, my grandfather was an iron ore miner in Hibernia. Hibernia, the word means Ireland.
Really?
Yeah. And I probably didn't know that till I was about 16. And we look at Morris County now, we're one of the richest counties in the country. And we have many industries. But 200 years ago, when they were mining, and a lot of it was in northwestern Morris County, Rockaway Township, where I grew up, Jefferson, Wharton. There's a little town in Rockaway Township called Hibernia. And George Washington, we've all heard the stories about camping out in Morristown. And you may or may not have heard of Fort Nonsense by the courthouse in Morristown. My understanding is that the reason that George Washington stayed here, you had the Hessians and the Brits who had conquered New York, and many of his munitions were being dug out of the ground right here in Morris County. And the forges were making shot and other things that his army needed, and he needed to protect that. And that's why I believe he was here to begin with. I mentioned Fort Nonsense, and you listen to the name of it, and you say, people will comment that it was done to keep the soldiers busy, their hands busy. But if you go up there and you look out over the town of Morristown, and in the distance you'll see two ridges, and those are the Watchung Mountains. And if you look further, I believe it's the Palisades, you will see the tops of the skyscrapers in Manhattan.
Yeah.
So Washington was able to put spotters there, and there are these plains in between these three ridges, where these spotters could see if the Hessians and the British started to make a move on his source of munitions. And so Fort Nonsense is a misnomer, in my opinion. It really served a great purpose. Those spotters could have lit a signal fire and warned Washington, who could have taken action to protect our resources as first Americans.
Yeah, yeah. The parade, it's usually about 2 hour parade, you're gonna be in the front there, so you'll end a lot sooner than, those behind
Oh,
you.
you're wrong, Peter. I have, I have to march, then I have to go back to the reviewing stand, and I have to watch everybody, so I'm
Oh, is
like,
that what- is that what
I'm the
happened?
last one to leave.
But do you have I almost feel like you have to pregame. Is there a pregame meal in the morning, for you that day?
Yes, but not what you expect.
Okay,
At Assumption Church, we have a mass.
right,
And that starts the day.
Right.
And I believe it's at 9:30,
okay,
a couple blocks from where the parade starts. The parade starts at Town Hall. And we go there, and yeah, we have the host, and we have wine, so
Yeah.
I guess that qualifies as our breakfast. And then, an interesting thing that's done by the parade committee put this together is there are 10 gifts that are carried up that all play some role in Irish history.
Okay.
Like a Great Cross and Heather
Yeah.
and St. Bridget's Cross. And
Yeah.
they're all carried up and placed on a table in the main aisle there and remind us of our history. So that's a great start of the day. So that's
Yeah.
our pregame. The postgame, I don't want to talk about too much in this interview. But, yeah, I'll be glad to talk more about the pregame.
I'm just curious, if the parade's always, is never on St. Patrick's Day, it's always, beforehand. But on St. Patrick's Day, being a Morris County guy, where do you think the best place to celebrate St. Patrick's Day is within the county?
Are you trying to get me in trouble?
I'm not, or let me say this, like,
I could easily get in trouble.
but of course, here in town, we have the Dublin Pub, we have the Grasshopper, there's a lot of great establishments in town, but, you leave the Morristown area, you go into like the Quiet Man, which is in Dover, there's a lot of different great little Irish places. So, we're not a county where we're lacking in Irish heritage. But I'm just curious, I'm not gonna let you off the hook on this, but do you have a favorite place?
Yeah, I have a couple of favorite places what happens, first of all,
Yeah.
the two groups that put on the parade
Yeah.
are the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick of
Yeah.
Morris County and the Irish American Association of Northwest Jersey.
Uh-huh.
And they do the yeoman's work, members there, along with, there's some other rising organizations, and I'm glad to be a honorary member of the Sisters of St. Bridget, and a lot of them volunteer as well. But if you're a member of the Irish American Association or the Friendly Sons, they have a post-parade event with entertainment and music, and there might be some Guinness there and some harp, who knows? But those are celebrations of community and our heritage, and have a little fun with celebrating the parade and St. Patrick.
Yeah.
And then there are a lot of establishments throughout the county that you can go to. It's interesting. I remember 20 years ago, a lot of younger people in their 20s would go to Hoboken
Yes.
for St. Patrick's
Yes.
Day. And in the last few years, I've noticed a shift that now people from Hoboken are jumping on the train and coming to Morristown because of the parade. It's the parade, and there are a lot of different pubs, and I prefer not to mention any of them.
That's fine,
I
that's
know I'll
fine.
be going, and my family and I will be, after the parade, going to those two organizations,
Okay.
which I'm a member of, and celebrating with our other people that help put the parade together. And we'll probably stop at a couple of
Sure.
other places on the way.
Yeah.
Before we get back to Morristown.
Do you do the traditional corned beef and cabbage?
I'll eat it if it's there.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's not my favorite.
Okay.
But it's nice to be able to enjoy those traditions. And,
Well, especially with your family now this year.
yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm thinking of that one pie. It's not a pie, it's a meal with the mashed potatoes on top of the meat.
The
and
shepherd's
gravy.
pie?
Shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love shepherd's pie.
Mhm.
You know, it's like an all-in-one meal for me.
Yeah.
The corned beef and cabbage, yeah, I'll eat that with my vinegar on the cabbage,
Uh-huh.
my malt vinegar, and whatever else. Well, you know, I'm 6'5", and I won't say how much I weigh, but I didn't get this way by not liking food.
Sure, sure. You know, you talked about you giving recognitions to the people behind the scenes who are putting the parade together, and the effort that they're putting in and year out to put in such a large production. But what's your perspective of being the Grand Marshal? What's surprised you the most in your role?
I'll tell you, there are a number of events, and at some point, I would like to mention those events.
Sure, go ahead. This is a
that are
great
coming
opportunity.
up. Excuse me, but the thing that surprised me the most is some of these events, and they're to enjoy our heritage and friendships and family, and also they're to help us pay for the parade. So they are fundraisers. And we had a pin party. It's a tradition that the Grand Marshal each year helps design a pin with their name on it for the year, and I did that, and they had a pin party, and I did my best to make sure everyone that came to that fundraiser for the Grand Marshal pin party received one of my pins. And also, there was a little card attached that gave the background of what was the symbolism that was on that pin.
Yeah.
To me, it wasn't about me. It's about our Irish heritage and about Morris County. And the biggest surprise that I received was some of the people that showed up that I didn't normally see. Some old friends, some relatives that I haven't seen in 10 years, and they showed up for me and for the parade. And that it was a wonderful thing.
Yeah. I can imagine it's very endearing.
Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah, yeah. So now as you talk about pins, let's talk about the sash you're wearing. This is
Yeah.
and the pins that are on the sash, because these are the pins that you give out through
They
the
are.
years.
There are two pins. There's the Grand Marshal pin
Okay,
that the Grand Marshal
Right.
helps design.
yeah,
And then the committee has a parade pin each year.
okay.
And those are sold at local establishments, and they help pay for the parade. And this is the Grand Marshal-elect sash. So I'm not officially the Grand Marshal yet this
Right,
year.
right.
And these pins are each of the Grand Marshals that came before me, and tell their story that they chose. My pin, which is,
It's this one right here.
yeah, if I can, and here's the card that came with it that I've given out roughly 1,000 of these pins. Yeah. Which amazes me that people want my pin, but a little bit about what is on the pin. There's a black anvil on there, which symbolizes Morris County's mining heritage. iron, zinc, other minerals, uranium you can find in our mines.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are the flags, the American flag, the Irish flag. And I have Forging Freedom, which is a big part that Morris County and the Irish who worked in those mines played to help get us to the 250th anniversary of our country. And I felt that was important to acknowledge.
Yeah.
And then I put I had to add a little more Celtic or Irish background, so I put a border of triskells, which are, and if you're Irish, you may not know what a triskel is, but you've certainly seen it. The old Celtic symbol with 3 spirals that all join together. And what I found out, there are probably 20 different meanings to that, but the 3 that I chose, that Celtic triskells refer to mother, father, and child, power, intelligence, love, life, death, and rebirth. And I think those 3 things encapsulate what it means to be Irish American and a strong family background and our heritage and the people that came before us.
Yeah, that's great.
Let me just finish saying regarding the sash,
Yeah.
there's an upcoming event, the Grand Marshal reception, which I'm honored to be recognized, and that's when I'll receive my own Grand Marshal. I'll become officially the Grand Marshal. There are some events that are coming out there for the people who are watching. You probably, many of you already know this, but I'm going to check my notes. And we have the parade, the Grand Marshals on Tap is the next event. It's on February 14th,
Okay.
which is Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So you get your best man or your best girl, and you bring them to the Famous Frog here in Morristown
Sure.
from 2 to 5. And during that event, all of the living past Grand Marshals are invited and attend. And we celebrate them and a little bit about me. I'm not the official Grand Marshal
Sure.
yet. But, and we have a good time with music and a lot of very good, fun people. The next event after that is on Friday, March 6th, which is the Grand Marshal reception,
Okay.
where I will become officially the Grand Marshal. I'll be hosting that event. We have some special guests. We have some great music. We have a great band. Thank you, Keith Wood, for steering me in the right direction. And they will be playing traditional Irish songs, some contemporary Irish songs, and also some rock and roll so that we can get out on the dance floor and dance to Irish music and then some rock and roll. So we'll have some good time there. It'll be great food and some nice cold Guinness. And that will be at the mansion at Mountain Lakes right on Route 46.
Yeah.
And they've always been very good to us.
Okay.
And then, of course, the parade is Sunday, March 14th. The parade mass that I mentioned earlier at Assumption Church in Morristown is at 9:30. And then the parade kicks off at noon on Saturday, March 14th.
So, even though you're not officially, for at least another few weeks, the Grand Marshal, when it comes to announce the 2027 Grand Marshal for next year, what piece of advice would you give them?
Do your best, but enjoy the moment. It can be overwhelming. You have to be involved, and I'm glad to do it. I'm honored to do it. But enjoy the moment for you and for your family.
Yeah.
It'll be something that your kids will talk about long after we're gone.
Yeah. Listen, Mike, it's been a pleasure to have you here with us today. And I appreciate so much, I not only appreciate your Irish heritage, but I also appreciate your love of history just as much.
Yeah, I know you're a history fan too.
So, again, I appreciate everything that you're doing. I wish you the best of luck that day. And, you know, hopefully the weather will hold up.
Oh, it's going to. I told you.
I know.
I'm guaranteeing the good weather. Of course, I may be burnt at the stake if it's, I don't even want to use the S word.
No, it's okay.
Or R word.
So for Beyond the Green, I am Peter Barbounis. This once again is the Grand Marshal, Michael Bannon. The parade will be March 14th. Starts at noontime. Make sure you get out there. It's a great event. Bring the family out there. It's probably one of the best events that the county and the organizers put on. So until next time, thank you. Be good to each other, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, Peter.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you for the opportunity to come in here.
Appreciate it.